If you want to get to the other end of the bayou, you've got to go about 20 miles out of your way. So we're going to see how long it takes us. It's about 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. We're going to use the stopwatch here, and we're off. Lily, Andy, thanks so much. Boy, what a fun morning. This is the first ceremony, first announcement in 3 years for the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame. And this year's inductees include 3 living inductees and 2 deceased. Here's a display of some of the artists here. They represent a wide variety of musical styles. Things are a lot different this year. They were able to bid on their routes during the 3rd week of May. That means they've had all summer to drive their routes and to find out if there were any problems along the way. Welcome back. Continuing coverage of yesterday's deadly helicopter crash here in Logan County that killed 6 people. Now that helicopter, that Huey helicopter based here at the Logan County Airport, I can tell you that investigators from the NTSB are at the crash site right now. First of all, I just want to say, do not try this at home. Now I am down at the bottom of the coulee to show you just how big this project is. This is between 14 and 17 feet high. It's 20 feet across at the bottom, and then at the top of the coulee, it goes 90 feet across. Again, this is just to show you just the size and scope of this massive project. But this building is so much more than a war memorial. Over the years, it's become an important cornerstone to the African-American community in Kimball and McDowell County. This fire at the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church happened a week ago, the morning of April 4th. Again, 3 church fires in 10 days, predominantly African-American churches, and certainly a lot of relief today that a suspect is in custody and now behind bars. Cleaning house. Governor Jim Justice says it's time for new leadership and accountability at the West Virginia State Police. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko. Amanda Barron is at the governor's office and will join us very shortly with a live report. Today's developments began with a press release this morning announcing that Colonel Jan Cahill, the superintendent of the West Virginia State Police, had resigned. Then, in an afternoon press conference, Governor Justice said he had appointed Jack Chambers to be the interim superintendent. Today's news ends weeks of turmoil at the top of the state police, which was rocked by 2 anonymous letters alleging widespread corruption and dereliction of duty by top leaders at the agency. Amanda, thanks so much. Now, this all began in mid-February when Justice acknowledged the existence of that anonymous letter detailing alleged wrongdoing by senior troopers. Now, this included a hidden camera in a women's locker room, extramarital affairs, fights in workspaces, and hidden accounts. This launched an investigation by the State Department of Homeland Security. Then on February 23rd, a second anonymous letter was received by the governor claiming that a state trooper stole money from a gambler at the Mardi Gras casino. Now, the resignation of Colonel Cahill has already paved the way for an interim superintendent. Our 13 News chief political reporter Mark Curtis joins us now with that part of the story. Mark, thanks. We also have reaction tonight from the attorney of Joseph Comer. He's the West Virginia state trooper who was arrested for domestic violence against a woman who's also a state trooper. Comer's attorney, Dave Moy, says these charges are retaliatory because Comer previously brought attention to misconduct from top ranks of the department. Moy says that Colonel Cahill's resignation proves it. All right, Spencer, thanks. In other local headlines now, a meeting is being held tonight in Charleston on what some say is an environmental issue. 13 News reporter Lexi Snyder met with a concerned citizen who will be attending that meeting, and she joins us now from the newsroom with an update. Lexi? 2 teenagers in Proctorville, Ohio have been arrested in connection to a string of car break-ins in Proctorville and also the Rome Township area. 13 News reporter Anna King joins us now live from outside the police station. Anna, you actually talked to one of the victims today. Anna, thanks. Always some good advice. Well, today marks the 20th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War. But for many veterans, the wounds that they suffered during the war are still healing. 13 News reporter Sam DeCoste connected with Iraq War veterans today, reflecting on their time in Iraq. Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins is back. Happy spring to you.
Hey, happy spring to you.
Yeah.
There you go. We are 2 minutes and 55 seconds into spring. It's a chiller, but it will warm up. We'll talk more about that.
It hasn't felt like spring in a couple of days.
It hasn't, no.
I mean, it's been cold.
It'll be a cold one, but my hands are cold as we speak.
I know. All right, thanks so much for watching 13 News at 5. We'll see you back here at 6. Tonight Live is coming up next. Turning to the forecast now, Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins is here. Boy, driving home last night was a little bit tricky.
Yeah, in Putnam County in particular, last night, the snow was coming down heavier there. I couldn't even see the lines on the road.
I know, right?
I got a little slick out there. But
Spencer, thanks. A deadly winter ice storm is gripping parts of the South. Accidents on slick roads killed at least 2 people yesterday, and tens of thousands of people are without power. Texas actually got more snow than New York City has seen all winter. 38 million Americans from Texas to Virginia are under weather warnings and advisories. Omar Villafranca is in hard-hit Memphis. Coming up, from Rage Against the Machine to Willie Nelson to Iron Maiden, we're going to take a look at this year's nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This and more ahead on Good Day at 4. Nike is suing Lululemon for unspecified damages related to the design of at least 4 of the Canada-based apparel company's sneakers. In a court filing in Manhattan, Nike alleges that patent infringement and claims it suffered economic harm and irreparable injury from Lululemon sales. Lululemon gave statements to several news organizations saying that it looks forward to proving its case in court. Layoffs in the tech sector continue. This time, PayPal says it will cut about 7% of its workforce, which is about 2,000 employees over the next several weeks. The digital payment company cites the challenging macroeconomic environment for its decision. PayPal is the parent company of payment apps Venmo and Zoom, among others. Late pop singer George Michael, 89-year-old country music icon Willie Nelson, and rapper Missy Elliott are among the first-time nominees announced today for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's class of 2023. Of the 14 nominees on this year's list, 8 are first-timers, including singers Sheryl Crow and Cyndi Lauper, singer Kate Bush, heavy metal band Iron Maiden, and rock band Rage Against the Machine are returning nominees. To be eligible for nomination, artists or bands must have released their first commercial recording at least 25 years prior to the year of nomination. This year is the first year of eligibility for Missy Elliott and the White Stripes. The list of 2023 inductees will be announced in May. Get in formation, Beyonce fans, because the superstar is heading on tour. The 28-time Grammy winner announced this morning on Instagram with the caption, "Renaissance World Tour 2023." The World Tour kicks off on May 10th in Stockholm, Sweden, before more stops in Europe, the UK, and Canada. Statewide shows begin July 12th in Philadelphia. A list of all the dates can be found at Beyonce's website. Tickets haven't gone on sale yet, though the website promises they will be available soon. DC Studios unveils an ambitious 10-year plan, and the cast is set for the next season of Survivor. Dina Demetrius has these stories and more in your Ion Entertainment report.
We did that, what was that, 2 years ago in February?
I was just thinking that. It was 2 years ago. This brings back such memories of that ice storm we had about 2 years ago. And Texas had the ice storm then, too.
Yeah, it was February, right? Yeah, it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Man, that was a mess. You can still look out in my backyard and see where the trees had fallen. They're still out
here. Yeah, exactly. All right, Spencer, thanks. Hey, let's get a check of the big board traffic right now. A library in Bluefield, West Virginia is looking to share the love this Valentine's Day with nursing homes by giving them some cards. The Kraft Memorial Library created a Valentine's Day card station. All of the cards made at the library will go to local nursing homes. Beth Jones is the social media associate. She says she hopes to have the same card turnout as last year. The West Virginia Beacon Digest served readers in Charleston's black community for decades. Benjamin Starks founded the paper in 1957. His son Steve Starks took over as editor and publisher in 1983.
We tried to focus on things that impacted, of course, the African American community especially, but we also tried to show comparisons between that community and the rest of Charleston and West Virginia.
The paper tackled issues on race and discrimination and showcased black storytelling. Stark's wife, Debbie, handled sales and sponsorships. They laid out the paper by hand and had 8 people on staff at one point.
It was very popular all around the state, and we would get replies and kudos and things like that for what the paper meant to those communities around the state.
Stark says many articles had a big impact, including the creation of Multifest. Multifest was born out of an editorial he wrote about what he says was a lack of diversity at the Old Charleston Sternwheel Regatta. His editorial led to a boycott of the event in 1990 and the creation of the first Multifest that same year. We found this interview with Steve Starks from 1990.
It was a void that needed filling. It's not only people of color, it's the everyday people that don't get an opportunity to be included in the functions of our city.
Stark stopped publishing the paper in April 2020. He says the internet, social media, and the pandemic were just too much to overcome.
What kind of void do you think that left in the African American community?
It left a void. We hear about it all the time.
One of the big ways the Beacon Digest was distributed was through the African American churches. Reverend Matthew Watts of Grace Bible Church says it's something that his parishioners looked forward to getting every Sunday.
Everybody was clamoring to get it because they would have some national story happen in another urban city that we didn't know anything about. They'd have something about black entertainment, about black sports, about black athletes.
Watts says black newspapers like the Beacon Digest played a huge role in the civil rights movement.
And the black press was also reporting things that maybe some of the mainstream media wasn't reporting, like some of the horrific hangings and lynchings and some of the brutality against African American people. So it really was, it was the voice.
Watts says the work that Steve Starks did with the Beacon Digest undoubtedly influenced a new publication that's trying to fill the void of black storytelling.
And I think it became the forerunner for Black by God. And people realized that we need a black press. We need a black publication.
Black by God, the West Virginian, is published by Crystal Good. The publication has a printed edition and an online presence, hoping to inspire a new generation of storytellers and champions of civil rights. In Charleston, Rob Macko, 13 News.
Because it's heavy metal tonight.
It's already loud. We have got Let the Guilty Hang on stage right now. They're doing some Metallica. This is Metal Night at Live on the Levee. 13 News is a proud sponsor of tonight's edition. After this, we've got 4 Ohm Mono. That's the band that's coming up next. And then we've got the headliner. I'm so excited about these guys. Byzantine coming up at 8:30. Now, I had a chance to talk to them just a couple of days ago. And here's a little more about the band Byzantine. Charleston's own Byzantine is the headliner at this week's Live on the Levee. Lead singer and guitarist Chris Ojeda started the band. Brian Henderson is on guitar and backup vocals. Ryan Postlethwaite is on bass, and Matt Bowles plays drums. Henderson and Ojeda say Byzantine plays a type of heavy metal known as groove metal.
Pantera kind of started the whole thing, that kind of southern fried, slower tempoed kind of stuff. So, yeah, definitely not speed metal or thrash metal. It's a little more accessible than that stuff.
Ojeda does some heavy screaming and shouting, so he practices proper singing techniques and tries to balance between hard and soft vocals to save his vocal cords.
Does it ever hurt your voice when you do that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really difficult. They say the human voice doesn't really mature until you get in your 40s. So right now I'm hitting my peak.
The band didn't play a single show for 600 days because of the pandemic.
The music industry got hit probably worse than anything. I mean, not just bands, promoters, crew, people lost jobs, and like everywhere else, and we're glad to be doing it again.
Byzantine has been around since the year 2000. They formed here in Charleston, West Virginia. Ojeda is the only original member, and the band has evolved over the years. But they have never played live on the Levee, and it's something the members say they're really looking forward to.
I have a 13-year-old daughter I don't think she's ever seen me play. I'm just the dad to her. So this weekend will be a eye-opener for her.
Byzantine has never played live on the Levee, but Henderson played the event with a cover band years ago. He says this time will be different.
I'm really looking forward to my mom and dad getting to come watch, my son getting to come watch, and seeing a lot of our friends.
Friday's show will be the final one of this year's 17-stop tour. All the guys in the band have day jobs, and they don't tour in the winter. Ojeda and Henderson are also dads, so family always comes first.
As long as we can keep a balance of home life, work life, and the band life, I think we could probably do this for a good amount of time.
Just a couple of dads playing some heavy metal, on the side. It's pretty awesome. Byzantine, they're going to be on the stage about 8:30 tonight, as I said. And this winter, they're going to kind of write some new songs. They're going to work on their 7th album, and they hope to go on tour again next year. Marilee, we're going to send it on back to you, but come on down in a little bit and enjoy some metal.
I will, actually. I'm going to run right over there after the show, so I'll meet up with you here in just a bit.